I understand like a lot of like the NFT technology and stuff like that, but I was just kind of curious on in regards to like the Solidity coding behind your NFT project. Did you have to go to Fiverr and hire a Solidity developer to get that done, or do you like know someone? Because it seems like your project took like more coding than like if you were just upload it directly to like OpenSea or something like that. Obviously, that's kind of a more basic smart contract. I was just curious how you kind of navigated like the waters of like figuring out like the smart contract and like the Solidity like development backend aspect of like the NFT projects. I have been struggling with the most part, seeing how I can like figure out all of this stuff with like using the smart contract and stuff like that.
I do everything on my own. I don't have artists, I don't have graphic designers, I don't have website designers, I don't have devs, I don't have programmers, nothing. When it came to creating the token, XRP Ledger has a program that will basically walk you through it and create the token for you. I believe Binance Smart Chain has something very similar to Adobe has created, it's still in beta. It will imprint your cryptocurrency wallet address onto the image. And then it can be verified through any of the websites that utilize their technology, their verification technology. And it keeps track of the purchases and things like that as it goes through. So all of my NFTs will be using the Adobe content. Just type in Adobe NFTs and you'll find it. That's how I always find it when I go on there. By me putting a copyright on it, it's giving it value. It's making it legit, right? I'm not going to do a rug pull. I'm not going to take your money ahead of time with the IOU tokens and then say, I'm never doing the NFTs and taking your money, right? I am traceable through the US government. That's what gives it more legitimacy. It builds trust. If I have a copyright and somebody does start using my artwork somewhere else, then I can send lawyers after them if I want to.
Can I take my art and screenshot it and make an NFT?
There's nothing preventing you from taking a picture of your traditional art and selling it as an NFT. Some painters, and that's what they do. They take high definition or high res pictures of their paintings and then they convert it into digital NFTs. You can do that, yes.
But I wanted to know, so it costs a lot of money to actually mint an NFT, right? There's the gas prices, I guess it's called. So if you make a collection, do you have to mint them all yourself before you put them up there? Or once somebody buys it, then it gets actually made into the NFT? And that's when all the fees are paid. Because otherwise, if you have 1,000 series, you have to come up with, $50,000 just to make them into NFTs, right?
People are using Polygon, which is a fork off of OpenSea that sort of removes the fee. The other way to do it is it's called lazy minting, in which the buyer pays the fee. Or Solana, a lot of it depends on the wallet. If you don't want to create a new wallet to use Solana, then you might want to stay on MetaMask and use Ethereum because it doesn't work with Solana.
I saw the other day that it will allow you to mint, and it doesn't actually do that. You don't get charged a fee until somebody buys it. And it was either rare or super rare.
It's like lazy minting, and they have that available on numerous platforms. But again, if it's ETH, somebody has to pay. It's over to Polygon because the fees were so high. Even though he wasn't paying them, somebody was paying them. So yeah.
I'm an artist as well. I'm not a full-time by any, I day trade, but I'm and a guitar player, and I have some signed guitars and stuff like that, like Carlos Santana to Aerosmith to Paul McCartney. I have a lot of good signed guitars through charities. Is there a way for me to utilize that without giving my physical guitar away?
Yeah, you can snap a picture of it. Just make sure that they're high quality. You don't want to use your smartphone. As great as they are getting.
The picture's high quality, yeah.
Right. You want to, make sure you take one that's super high quality of it. Make sure you've got like a nice colored background or even just a white background. But yeah, I mean, you can definitely, there are people who like things like that, especially if it's got signatures on it and they can see that it's the actual valid guitar and it's not just some replica that somebody made.
Right, especially if you have a certificate of authenticity.
Authenticity, exactly.
Which I've got most of my signed guitars from charities, so I have a bunch of those. But I was wondering,
Lennon just did that. If you look at his auction, he just ran it out of Beverly Hills or something like that about last month, I want to say, and he sold a signed guitar from somebody for $8,000 or $10,000.
Yeah, I mean, that wouldn't be bad.
That was just an image.
But they didn't. But he didn't have to give the guitar away.
Correct.
Yeah.
Another one that they actually added the guitar as part of the token went for about $85,000.
Right. So if you add the guitar, I mean, and it's a huge investment, and mine was for charity, and it was much less than that. It was about the price of the guitar. I got very lucky on Carlos Santana's guitar. But Paul McCartney, Wings Over Wall Street, I did a lot of charities for that type of stuff. So I do have them, and I don't want to get rid of them. But I'm just wondering if I could turn them into NFTs because
absolutely. And I would suggest you use 3D scan software. Take a series of shots. That way you can give it a 3D image and move it around. And then I would make sure that you NFT it only as an image or as that unique one, because in 5 years, you can be able to sell that to somebody in the metaverse who wants to play it in GarageBand.
Oh, that's pretty cool. You know, a lot of them just sign it. They sign the pick handles and stuff like that. You know, they sign a bunch of them.
So people that are fashion designers in the metaverse, and I would definitely contact them because they might be very interested partnering in some way. You know, you got your
that's cool.
Jacket, you got your little patch that has your QR code, and you can walk around with your I
don't know how to do that, but I mean, I guess I can figure it out.
What about wanna put some videos and OpenSea as NFTs? Not a lot, just maybe between 10 to 100, maybe 10. So what do you think about that? Just put it on OpenSea and promote it on Twitter, or?
Yeah, actually, the film industry is starting to get into the NFTs as well as the music industry. It's not just about art anymore. NFTs are blowing up crazy. It's in the gaming world. It's everywhere now. I think Quentin Tarantino was just about to release a bunch of video clip NFTs. I think of Pulp Fiction, got into a huge lawsuit because, copyright issues with the studios and stuff like that. So by all means, if you want to start a video NFT collection, go for it.
It takes a lot of time to produce like 1,000 of them or maybe 100. So I'm just wanna stick to 20. So is it okay? Just 20?
Yeah, you can do as many as you want. A lot of people do 10,000 prints of regular NFTs, and I said I'm not doing that because I'm doing all of mine by hand. So I'm doing 2,000. Right? It's entirely up to you.
Putting it on OpenSea as a collection. After that, I just wanted to create an account with the same name on Twitter and promote it. That was my strategy. Is there anything else you suggest?
Make sure that you are using things like keywords, especially if it's a specific community that you're targeting. I don't know what your videos are about, but let's say they're football, right? Is it little league? Is it college? Is it pro? Is it, tag in whatever those little words are so that when people are looking, they know what it's about, and then you can use the search engines and all that stuff to help bring you in people.
Oh, okay, thank you.
I've had a question regarding technically how, like if you're using your NFT as a piece of art, but also as a utility, so it might lead to a merchandise site, Bandcamp or Spotify, wherever, like if it's music, and what would the technical part of that be?
I think they've dubbed it d-commerce. Boson Protocol is one that I follow, and what they do is they offer an NFT that you can purchase in the metaverse, and then they physically ship the sweater or hat or whatever it is to your home, which is kind of like what you're talking. I have a friend that does, okay, so we're a very marijuana heavy state. And
I'm in
he is
Denver.
gonna,
Yeah.
yeah, he's gonna start selling NFTs of, you know, psychedelic kind of artwork. And then with it, he will send you sample seeds of, because they do crossbreeding and stuff like that. The way he has to do it is when the purchase is made, the customer has to be in contact with them to send them their address so he can ship it.
Another non-techy solution, by the way, is called Vistaprint. So you can put anything on anything, and you can buy them one at a time. So you can put it on a coffee mug or a T-shirt or a hat or whatever, and you know, off you go. And yeah.
So I'll investigate that, and maybe at the next meeting I'll come up with some new things. There is this website that I put on the chat, Tellie, Tellie, and basically they're saying, though you do need HTML code, and it's in beta, that you can connect a Shopify store. Now, of course, that's expensive if you have a store, but some of that is like coming around. I was just kind of interested in it, but I'll keep researching it.
Yeah, and the space is very young, and the technology is constantly evolving. So while there might not be a simple solution now, maybe in 6 months there is, maybe in a year, you know. It just, if you can't find the answer, find a workaround. Just don't give up.
Thank you for having this this webinar. I truly appreciate it. I've been a nurse for over 10 years. I am also a cannabis consultant under Sweet Canna J. I help people that are new to consuming cannabis. I do have a brand logo that's trademarked, and I would like to use it as an NFT. I'm not really quite sure how I could use it, but since I paid so much money for the trademark, I figured out maybe I can utilize it as an NFT. Is that possible?
Yep. The only thing you're going to have to think of is, what are you going to use it for besides just having your logo, especially if you're going to be minting several copies of it. Maybe you can advertise to your customers, like NFT holders get an additional 10% discount on their purchases every month, or, you know, I mean, that's where you're going to have to think outside the box and figure out how you can tie that in with your business. But by all means, you can make an NFT out of your logo. Absolutely.
Can it be a service as well? Like, you know, if they purchase that NFT logo trademark thing, and that means they have my time.
Yep, absolutely. You can tie it into an hour consultation, and especially if they want to, you know, use cryptocurrency to pay for it, that's a good way of doing it.
Experience is like a huge part of the NFT. Entertainers are doing it. All basketball players are doing it. They're saying have a one-on-one game for 5 minutes with Trae Young or something like that. I mean, you know, there's all kinds of crazy experience. So that's a very important part of the conversation, is the experience that goes along with the NFT. You get to go meet the person that made it.
MJ in here, he wants to know what software will create a 3D image of the guitar.
My son creates 3D trains in Blender, which is a free 3D program, so you don't have to pay for it. BLENDR, Blender.
I work at a product design agency, and we actually pitched doing an NFT collection around diversity and inclusion, and using artists and having them create this and give donations to different organizations. Like a lot of people in the company actually were very adverse to the idea because of their understanding of the environmental impact. And so that kind of spun us into a place where we were trying to understand a little bit more about different NFT initiatives that either are emission-free or different technology that is a little bit better for the environment. So I was trying to get a little bit of understanding of the possibilities of doing NFTs in an ethical way.
I think we mentioned this earlier. Really, it's ETH and Bitcoin are the huge energy hoggers. There are so many options now. You can literally mint 10,000 NFTs for the amount of power that it costs to create a cheeseburger at McDonald's. So it's a lot of disinformation out there, and once disinformation takes hold, it's really hard to turn the general opinion around. But the further that you go into researching the technology behind these blockchains, you'll find that it's not as bad as it seems. Look into, Polygon and which is Matic. XRP does not consume a lot of energy and the transaction fees are very low. I believe Solana is headed towards being carbon neutral. There's definitely options out there that they're either carbon neutral or they are very low on emissions and hurting the environment. So like yes, it was very, very bad at first, but as that became an issue, all kinds of people have started working on finding solutions. And like I said, it's a new space. Trust me, things change on the daily. So
Yeah.
Definitely just look into different blockchains besides ETH.
How do you decide what the appropriate number is? Where does it get scary for an investor when you say, I'm putting out 2,000 and the total collection, there will only be 50,000? Little or a lot, I don't know.
The way that these huge collections work, including mine, each NFT is unique. But what is unique is what makes the scarcity the value of it. So a lot of them use all these like 10,000, 50,000 projects. They use generators and they build a layer for each item. And then these generators just randomly put them together and make a unique NFT. I do the same thing, but I do it by hand. So I might have 10 marshmallows that have 10 different faces. That's 100 NFTs. And then you throw in 28 different backgrounds. Now you've got 2,800 NFTs or however many. I'm throwing numbers out there. What happens is the value is that there's one and it's unique, right? Even though there's 10,000 in the collection. The same character, but they've changed the mouth or they've changed the hat.
50,000 doesn't scare you?
No.
Thank you guys for having this. This is incredibly informative. A question about royalty-free music or sounds in NFTs, whether or not there's any just sort of attitudes towards that, or whether or not there are any restrictions, especially with the kind of fog around copyright.
So here's what's going on with the music industry. You know that there's a middleman between the artist, and then there's the distributors, there's the managers, there's the studios, there are all these different people. What is starting to happen is celebrities are connecting with their communities straight on and offering original music as NFTs. It allows them to interact with their fans. It allows the fans to purchase into the creation of that song. And they're doing it all sorts of different ways, but it's cutting out the middlemen. Now, when it comes to copyright, I don't think they're able to use their previous songs because those are under contract with the studios. That music artists are creating new ones from scratch. They're using all of the high-end equipment in their homes that you can use and doing it that way. And now it's music that has no other legal rights by other companies.
Hey, can I give you a very accurate information about that?
Go for it.
I've been in the music business for 30 years, worked with major acts. Bottom line, when it comes to the music part of this, what the performers are doing is they're creating original songs, and those original songs are NFTs in their own right. So you can collect that song like you collect a typical NFT art. That's what they're doing with them. One last piece. Some of this music is 30 seconds. All they are is clips, but that clip is from Mr. Unbelievable or Mrs. Wonderful. That's who it's from. So my God, it's 30 seconds. It's worth who knows how many thousands of dollars.
How does the royalty work on that?
There's no royalty.
Depends on how they set the smart contract.
That's it. The royalty is in the smart contract. That's where it stops.
Can you use music that's royalty free in your NFT? Like
Yes. If you have royalty-free music that's been produced by somebody who says you can use this music for any purpose whatsoever, then yes, you can use that music.
I got to jump in here real fast. Unless you explicitly get or something else, you do not have the rights for distribution. With most NFTs, you do not have rights to it. You have the right to use.
Yeah,
but
Quinn,
you do
you
not
broke.
have the right. Don't confuse legal rights with what's inside of an NFT unless
No,
it's
but
explicitly placed inside of an NFT.
That's
And it
correct.
is part of the LLC the NFT is built around, then you do not have those rights. You
Yeah.
could buy a beautiful picture, but you
Correct.
still do not have the copyright. You don't have the right to reproduce. You
Yes.
have a right to use.
That's the right way. That's how it's
I mean,
done.
this is what I deal with on a day-to-day basis.
Right.
You do not
Right.
have the rights unless somebody specifically gives it to you in a contract form. And
Exactly.
if they want to put that inside of the NFT, it's like the cryptocurrency sale of the house here in Gulfport. What they did was they built a LLC that is controlled by the NFT. When somebody purchased the NFT goes through a state change, and a message is sent out, for lack of a better word, that tells the new owner to register so that the LLC ownership changes hands to theirs. And once they own that LLC, they own all the rights and everything else inside of that LLC. But please don't confuse rights and different types of distribution and ownership rights with actually owning an NFT. A lot of times what you're getting with the NFT is just a right to use.
Mark, what are you describing? What scenario are you
Where
describing?
the
Mark?
artist creates something and then he owns it entirely, at which point he can offer up individual pieces of that as an individual NFT. And if somebody wants to accumulate every single one of them, they could have the ability to distribute it.
Yeah.
So that's accurate too.
It's
Okay.
a way of funding
Right.
production.
It's not about funding production necessarily.
No, it isn't.
Simply, yeah, it's not necessarily about that. But it can be, but it's not necessarily the only thing.
Right.
Future-
YouTube guys
future
are already
funding.
doing that.
Right. You can use an NFT to fund the future project if you wanted to.
Yes, that's what I'm working on, and I'm not going to get into it, but that's exactly what I'm working on. Yeah, with LLCs and all that stuff involved. Yeah.
I have a question about the person that gathers all of the bits of the song and then owns the song. But doesn't the original artist, if it's written in the contract, get a piece of that copyright as well?
The way it works in publishing, it works is when a performer. I've worked with a lot of the major artists, and I've been in their recording studios and on tour with them. The way it works is when a recording is recorded. At the time of that recording, there is a publishing agreement. There is normally a publisher. It could be that the artist owns their own publishing, but at the time that takes place, there is an agreement, a contract, and it says that the writer might have a piece, the composer may have a piece, the producer may have a piece, the artists themselves have a piece, and musicians who are in the studio, who are part of the recording, may have a piece of that publishing. Now it moves on to, does the record company get a piece at all? The artist may have their own record company. If the artist is signed to a major label or a secondary label owned by a major, the record company may have a piece of the publishing as well. Then it goes on to the EMI and Ascap people. So EMI and Ascap, they're the ones who keep track of all of this. What they do is they track, where is that piece of music being used? Is it being used in commercials, TV? Is it being played in shopping malls and restaurants? Is it in an elevator? Where's that music being played, including radio and now online? They track that information. They know where that piece of music is being used. Then they take all that income from that and they divide it to all the people who have a right to the publishing of that song based on the percentages that each one of those people that contributed to that song were assigned. That's the basic process of how that's all structured.
Thank you. That's really helpful. And I think for indie bands that are just starting to put, say, like an EP on Bandcamp or to start thinking about it at that moment before they do the NFTs, because a lot of them do own that music because it's just them at their studio, the local studio.
And that's very good, Linda, because that's what really all of this is about. That's what Web3, Metaverse, and NFTs, that's what this whole thing is about, is that we are avoiding the record companies who are the distribution, who are the stores, or who are the online stores, whoever it is, even Amazon. We're avoiding all of that. The
Right.
artist now can simply record whatever they want, whether it's 30 seconds or a 4-minute song, put it out as an NFT, and then indeed sell it to whoever they want to sell it to. That it's a straight direct to the customer, which is kind of cool.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. That's great input from everybody who just spoke. Great input so far. I mean, that's great input.
And then the buyer, through the smart contract, now has ownership of that based on what that smart contract says. You have a right to play it, you have a right to enjoy it, you have a right to share it, but you do not have a right to put it in your own TV commercial. You do not have a right to put it into your own movie. You do not have a right to put it into a musical play that you're producing. Or you may have a right to do any at all.
The smart contract says that. If the contract says you have the right.
Yeah, as long as it's in the smart contract, then you can do that.
I have friends that are like family that are in local bands. The beauty is that they already have such a loyal following, like they all go to each other's clubs and the bands follow each other. And so you have a built-in community, like Luna was saying, like that's your community. Those are your fans.
Yeah, it is that the way the whole NFT thing is evolving and developing is exactly the same way what we used to call, and still is there, pay to play in Hollywood. So pay to play in Hollywood on Sunset Strip, you got all the clubs. The bands go in there initially to start playing, get out of the garage, as we call it, get out of the garage phase of it all and start actually performing live. Well, as you're doing that, you're building your base, you're building your fans. And then through that, those people, because now you've got the Twitter, Discord part of it as well, and yes, Facebook website, but because of Twitter and Discord, you now open up that beyond the actual radius of where you live and the people who come to see you. That's the exciting part of all of this, because those fans who are part of that group, 500 people at some point maybe, those people all have Twitter, they all have Discord. There's where the marketing takes off like you wouldn't believe.
I think we've answered everybody's questions. That's it for tonight.
Yep, I'm glad I could be here. And of course, you guys can find me in the Discord, and you can find me for cuties everywhere or Luna Ski everywhere. I mean, literally, you can just type them in, but you'll find me.
So thank you, Luna. Really, really great job.
Bye, guys. Have a good night.
Take care.
Okay. Bye-bye.